Welcome to the podcast of disaster. I'm your host JCR1216, and joining me is my co-host.
This is Fun Flip the Cartoon in a brand new format.
We're actually doing this one on Twitter Spaces today because things are just hectic with Mike peeking in recording stuff today. But
we're not here to talk about our technical difficulties. We're here to talk about hedgehogs.
Yeah, hedgehogs of the blue kind. And
the black kind.
You might need to word that better next time, Floof.
I'm tired. It's Christmas Eve. I don't think I can really think at the moment.
Merry Christmas to everybody, by the way, because this episode's going to go up tomorrow.
Merry Christmas and happy holidays to everyone. Seriously, this is about as much as I'm working on Christmas Eve as I can get right now.
And there's nothing more fitting the Christmas spirit than Eggman committing terrorism.
As we are building up from the last issue in 82, and this is the last, the last part of our current storyline. We have gone back to a trial by fire situation of a 3-issue arc in some way, shape, or form. And with that, we go on to the sites of Dr. Eggman's latest creation, the Egg Juggler.
Juggling D's nuts.
Oh, I'm the one that needs to word things better?
Yeah. It is really cool seeing a new Eggman thingy. I love how I just have to praise the design. If there's one thing that we've said a lot on this podcast, the IDW Sonic art is just fantastic. It's nice to just like see Eggman's scope, and I do love Soleil's reaction to seeing the mech. The eyes are hilarious.
I think it's cool. I love the multiple arms. That is some really, really cool stuff that they can design for an Eggman, for an Egg mech. And we also do see everyone come together because, of course, everyone's going to settle their differences and whatnot against Dr. Eggman. And apparently Eggman is actually in the city of Sequin just for himself. He has no intentions about the Chaos Emerald, or he doesn't even know that Sonic and Shadow are even there. He's just there to party. He just wants, he's going to make it everyone's problem for him to have the most fun. Which, you know what? Good for him, I guess. This is definitely the funniest introduction to Eggman into something, into a story. He's often finding, the Chaos Emeralds, a special power, resources and other things, and also this yawn. But no, he's just there to, he's there for anything, all the festivities and stuff. What else is that interesting? It's that, well, I can at least appreciate, right? Because I thought that things weren't going to be holding up as they were at the end of 82. Because at the end of 82, we know that Eggman was accompanied by a whole slew of badniks. But in 81, we saw a lot more designs than what was shown. And thankfully, I don't have to worry about that, because lo and behold, here they are. A multitude of badniks from the Advance series, which I know that these kinds of little robots were shown at the end of 81. I know for a fact that Minnow Kim loves including the advanced robots. But I am happy to see that GGG Tree in 82 did include a few of them falling into view, and here in 83, Thomas Roethlisberger just, oh my gosh, I'm so happy to see these robots. I feel like I'm one of the few people who advocates oh man, you guys see all the robots, the ones that haven't been shown in IDW yet, that's so cool. And it's a nice change of pace. Haha, yes, pun intended. As opposed to the usual Egg Pawn, Buzz Bomber, the usual badniks we're so used to seeing. And getting to see Soleil's knowledge of Sonic, be used alongside with Sonic. Cool stuff like that. It's Tails trusts Soleil enough to attack the robots. And oh God, another part of the Egg Juggler I really like is the you see it using batons and the juggling chainsaws. It's just a giant egg clown It's the best thing I could ever like witness. Um, and that, and then I see that little moment there. Wanted to talk about it. There's there's a few moments here and there with Shadow and Rouge, which make do with what you have, I suppose, is the case here. But um, I don't know. I don't know what else to say, to be honest.
Yeah, like this opening I think is really nice. One of the things I've been missing from IDW Sonic is the action.
Yeah, a little bit of scuffle, a little bit of here and there. Like, yeah, just a fight sequence and such. I like, yeah, no, wait, like with Eggman specifically, right? We haven't had that since '75, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
since
been a minute.
'75. It's been a minute since we got to like tussle with Eggman, and the usual tussling has been with other villains or with other characters or with just like the occasional badnik. But just Eggman just going at it, yeah, that's fun. Um you know um
I and I
was
do
kind of
like the
expecting
fact.
a bit more out of some things though.
Yeah, I do
Like,
like. Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead.
I do like the fact that we see Apogee and Purgy enjoying seeing Soleil go.
Yes, yes. For and yeah, in case you guys have no ideas that they care, the rest of Soleil's family all do have names. This is something that's been established for a little bit. But yeah, and you know, um, it's something that Evan had commented about, considering the fact that Apogee and Perigee, um, are a specific kind of mother and father. Um, but it's also the fact that they are a traveling performing troupe and they do everything at 110%. So it's yeah, they are a eccentric bunch is what I'd say at the very least. And Soleil's siblings are, well, they're here. That's the best thing I can actually say. They're here. Um uh yeah, I don't even know what else to say, to be honest. It's like, yeah, they're here. I
Yeah,
do
I know what
like
else we
I
could say.
I do like Soleil's family. I like them being here and I like them as new characters. I just, it would have been nice to have at least gotten something out of the siblings too. I know that there was that moment in the previous issue with Tails that kind of just gets, scrubbed off to the side a little bit, unfortunately, but timing constraints and the size of the issues. Um the
Comic's
uh
biggest problem: money.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if that actually, yeah, maybe, yeah, we can just roll with that. But again, more cool stuff with the egg juggler, like the juggling ball, the bouncing ball turning into like huge rockets. Like that's cool stuff. Shadow using Chaos Spear, and more of the Badniks coming into play. It's like, fun stuff here and there. I'm gonna be honest. I did see some people talking about this in particular that Rouge didn't really have much to do in this arc, and like I kind of have to agree. I would have thought that Rouge would have done just a little bit more. Like she went out of her way. She went out of her way to use her heart bombs in '81. Albeit they were flashbang. Yeah, they were flashbang bombs and such. But she still had them anyways. And then I believe she just and then there's that moment with her and Shadow in '82, and then um what is that? What exactly does she do? She comes in and swoops the Chaos Emerald, and that's
Yeah,
pretty much it. Like, yeah, it's like, yeah, the focus is mainly on Sonic, Tails, and Lunar during that, and then yeah, like, and then for the most part here, yeah, she's just kind of following Shadow. And like, I
and
don't
trying to get a
blame.
deal to get the best cafe in town.
Mm, I don't blame like the sequence of this. Like, getting hit with the bell definitely is gonna hurt. Definitely would. Um, and also from what I can tell, Um, yeah, from what I can see, right, yeah, Rouge is balancing, like she's sitting on one of the arms. Yeah, she's sitting on one of the arms on the shoulder, and then, yeah, okay, I'm seeing it now. Like, you can barely see it, but she's standing on like, the limb attachment of one of the arms on the juggler, and then she gets hit off the arm, and she almost gets hit with the baton, and then, yeah, Shadow saves her. So, like,
Insert Taco
yeah,
Bell sound effect.
I'm not privy to like the sequence there. It's just I thought that she'd have a bit more to do, but um, looking at the sequence and stuff, she's just kind of Shadow's tails right now, which not. I guess it's kind of unfortunate to say, but like, yeah, she's just getting Shadow out of the way and maneuvering and such. Um,
Yeah, and I do
and
like the fact we
then
do get a little Shadooch moment for all those Shadooch shippers out there.
I guess, I guess people, I know people were having that moment, but again, people were also kind of, it's sad that she didn't really have that much, compared to what she was doing in 80 and such. It's like, it's kind of a bit of a downgrade. Again, the timing and the size of the issue of the arc. And then, and then Shadow gets hit with the baton instead and loses the Chaos Emerald. Um, and he gains a lot. The Egg Juggler gains a lot more power and brings in the chainsaws, which are cool. I will say that is really cool. But it causes a ruckus. All the people in their flying machines and hot air balloons and everything else in Sequin, everything's not really going so well. And um, cool looking rockets that Eggman has looks to me like I don't know. It's like, are they? I feel like I've seen some of these designs before, but nothing. I don't know.
And speaking of
But
seeing, I do like the little thing of Lord M would have loved covering this episode where we just see Shadow get completely disrespected with Eggman just like yoinking the emerald out of his hand.
yeah, and but then that gets brought right back when Sonic and Shadow dodge his missiles and ends up breaking off one of the arms. But unfortunately, Eggman still has 5 more left and causes a bunch of the ground to get destroyed, leaving Sequin citizens off of into danger. And despite the fact that the Celestial Troop does their best to help save the rest of the citizens, Sonic and I really want to know what exactly was happening here, because Sonic and Shadow get the living color sliced out of them. They get hit with 2? No, 3! They get hit with 3 of the chainsaws from one arm. They
Sonic
get
literally
hit.
has the
Oh my gosh,
Pokemon
I'm
defeat
literally just
eyes.
seeing this now. They
Yeah,
literally get hit by all 3 arms.
yeah.
And they
Like
are
Sonic
like,
has the Pokemon, like when you're watching the Pokemon anime, they have like the defeated eyes. Like Sonic has like the defeated Pokemon eyes.
okay, looking at that like more now, it's like, that's cool. I like that. That's cool. Um, and then Eggman gets back up to, and then Eggman gets back up with the rest of it, the rest of what I believe is a full power sequence. But then Rouge and Tails have a plan, and from what it looks like, Tails has repurposed one of the Bell Badniks into um a
Wi-Fi.
circuit shorter and disconnects the Chaos Emerald energy from the Egg Juggler. But that doesn't really last long. It's just a temporary diversion from both Tails and Rouge's end. Um, but thankfully, um, despite the fact that Tails gets his Miles Electric gets knocked out of the equation, the Celestial Troop comes in to save the day and utterly just both the Egg Juggler is now blind thanks to the efforts of an entire family, and yeah, things go down pretty fast.
Yeah, Eggman falls off the Pixar ball.
Ha ha ha. And yep, Eggman is defeated once more. Uh, and get a little funny sequence with Sonic shaking his quills. Gotta love that. But yeah, and and then after the mech is destroyed, it's that, yeah, the Chaos Emerald is possibly still inside the mech, but Rouge says to let them know. Bleh. Rouge says to let her know. I don't know why I said that. I think I'm thinking of Sonic and Tails. Rouge says to let her know if the emerald is salvaged, but does she just leave? I don't know. I don't
I
like.
have to go now. My emerald, my other shinies need me.
I guess, but it's like she just leaves, like not
Yeah,
sitting around for the Chaos Emerald to get unearthed or anything. Um,
yeah.
and
And then we see
then
Shadow get slapped in the back.
yeah, and then Shadow says the threat is gone. I have no need for it right now. When I need it again, I'll simply claim it wherever it may be. I guess that's an explanation, but I don't know. I don't know why Shadow would be like like I mean, yeah, Eggman fleed. Like the Egg Juggler's no more. It's like, yeah, Shadow doesn't want like that kind of power in anyone's hands. So like, yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, it at least makes some sense, and it's accurate to Shadow. Um, it's just that, and at the very least, Shadow does stick around. Like we do see his silhouette at the end on top of the Egg Juggler's nose. So it's definitely the fact that he's waiting for like an answer on the Emerald, I suppose, or like waiting to see like he'll probably take care of it himself, obviously. But it's like, yeah, but yeah, even then, Sonic and Tails are like consulting everything, but like the Chaos Emerald's gone. Tails is just
Yeah,
wondering if something got loose in the Miles Electric. Um, But Sonic's just kind of like leaving it at that, and they'll wonder
Yeah,
he'll wonder what will happen next.
yeah.
And
I do like we do get a little goodbye with Soleil and her and their family.
you really do see that Soleil is the odd one out of the family,
Yeah,
not only in terms of their designs, but you see it's like, um
the cape.
it's not just Soleil having the lunar costume and everything, it's the fact that, you see them all side by side now. It's like you see everyone but Soleil has a pink nose and pink eyes and, the same kind of costume too. Um,
Hello, internet. Welcome to Game Theory. Today we're going to discuss if Soleil is adopted.
Hush you. Um, but we do get to see again you know, their performing routines built into their daily lives. And it's fun. It's fun. Again, I do like them as new characters to exist in Sonic. Um, and yeah, there's the little part where Soleil is, thanking Sonic and Tails for their efforts during their little adventure there in Sequin. Um, and Sonic's just kind of, yucking it up as he's done before. Um, I think people were talking about this as well. Like, yeah, I think I saw some people talking about this scene here with Sonic just like, hey, yeah, I was like, yeah, come here, guys. It's like, what is it I seen? It was something about like I don't know, just mannerisms and stuff and Sonic things, I guess.
Yeah,
I wasn't really paying attention or caring in the slightest. But it's
yeah.
like,
But there is something that we need to
I,
pay attention towards the end of this issue.
I'll get to that in a second. But it's like, Sonic's just arms over, it's just like, Sonic's just doing arms over the shoulders. It's like, it's kind of like, yeah, that was fun. Like, it's kind of whatever. I don't really know. But anyways, Sonic and Tails are saying goodbye and they're making their leave off to who knows what else is about to happen. And then, yeah, someone has been watching and someone has been retrieving.
The emeralds, and now they have 7 instead of 6. They went from 6 to 7.
I'm going to kill you.
Oh my god. Yeah.
All 7 of the Chaos Emeralds have been collected by our mysterious voiced figure who has made who has made an appearance before. This is the same voice that we heard at the end of issue 80, who's been watching everyone, who's been spying on all of our main cast of characters in the comics thus far.
Yeah.
And they are carrying the coffin that holds the rest of the Chaos Emeralds that we saw also in issue 80. Mind you, it's a pretty big thing that this guy, whoever they are, uh, yeah, they were spying on everything that was happening in issue 80 with Sonic, the Chaotix, and Shadow and Rouge. They were spying on Tails, Knuckles, Surge and Kit, Tangle and
Tangled
Whisper,
Whisper, Jinx,
Silver and Blaze, and they were also spying on Eggman, and from what else we are aware of, as well as what we believe to be Sequin, or at least the Celestial Troop, and just basically the whole carnival scene in general, from what it looks like in one of the monitors. And then what else it looks like? Some rocks in a place, and
yeah.
then some something about what appears to be a castle somewhere. It just looks very
Oleana, maybe.
interesting, especially with the fact that we know that this mysterious figure, um, this mysterious figure has been spying on our characters, has access to um, Eggman's tech, and has all the Chaos Emeralds. So, like, who could this possibly be?
Okay.
We're gonna figure out because that's what we're gonna be seeing next year.
Yeah, do you want to place bets? Like we did with
I
the
don't want to
team?
place bets.
They're like silly bets, not like
I'm not
winning
placing any
bets.
bets. I can confidently say is that despite what people have been saying online, I do not think that Starline is back.
I
I
think
know people
it
are
has
hoping so, and I know people are kind of expecting the case to happen, but I'm not convinced myself. I'm not convinced myself. And the reason why I'm not convinced is because some people have pointed out, especially some friends of mine, right? Some friends of mine, have, clocked it. You see the hand. You see the hand, right? You see the hand all bandaged up and such. Um, and, you know, what is one thing that we saw in Dr. Starline that he does have? Like, what is something that we'd see if it was Starline, right?
clubs.
No. And, well, to be fair, while that is the same hand, remind you, the glove was destroyed by Surge. Um, excuse me. No, it's the fact we would have seen his webbed hands. It
True.
may, it doesn't particularly look that way. Again, it's like, again, the hand is bandaged. So, like, I couldn't be able to, make, like, a clear statement on the matter, but, like, I don't know. I just feel like we would have seen, um, would we, or is it the way that the hands are like,
Yeah. I know some people
I
have been
don't
throwing
know.
around it might be infinite.
People have been saying Infinite, some people have been saying Starline, some people have been saying someone new. I just don't know if it is Starline, right? And like also, and also like, yeah, well, another thing I don't really know if it'd be Starline just because he's carrying that giant coffin around him. It's like, and
That could
Starline
be
was
the
only as
obvious
strong
guess.
as his Tricore, and that was depleted immediately after issue 50. So I really don't think that this is who we think it is, unless it is, and that would just be funny. That'd be funny if like, oh, like if it actually is him, then how do you get the strength anyways?
Maybe
Um,
he's been working out in that rock.
it's that, or people really do want, the whole Frankenstein concept to come into play, which would be cool, but I just don't know. I really don't know. And also, I'm now looking at his reference sheet, and apparently he doesn't have like a webbed fin in between his finger and his thumb, like I thought he did. So I guess, but even then, I just don't know if it is going to be him or not. I feel like we would have seen his webbed fins also bandaged in some way, shape, or form, but it's not really looking as likely. So I don't know.
Yeah. If it is Starline, I would absolutely hate that. I think that'd be one of the worst decisions you could make.
I mean, I mean, Starling was a cool character, and I don't really blame people for wanting him to come back. It's just it feels, I don't
It
know,
feels
too
wrong.
soon. Like we're just about getting to, like, okay, since issue 50, like, want him to come back. I would, like, like, maybe, I don't know, maybe issue 100. This is the road to 100 at the moment, but it's just, I don't know. I really don't know.
I know
I,
some people
I,
have been speculating it might be Metal Sonic or the person that's controlling Metal Sonic.
it's most likely the person controlling Metal Sonic.
But then again, then that would just lead it to either being Infinite or Starline. I would much rather it be Infinite than Starline.
Infinite has been gone longer, and it would also be really cool, for like, IDW getting the okay for Infinite to come back. I think that would be awesome. But again, if it's Starline, it's like, I don't know. I feel like if I wanted it to be Starline, I would prefer him not to be as autonomous. Like, despite the fact that, okay, if he were to come back, I would also want to be under the assumption that he's being controlled as well. Okay? Like, not to say I would, well, actually, he was a villain. He was a very, very bad person, and he did all
Yeah.
sorts of heinous things. So you know what? I actually wouldn't really feel remorseful for him. If anything, he deserves it. But like, if I want him to come back, like, it would definitely be of the fact that while he would retain his intelligence, he is being controlled by some other force. That's
Yeah.
kind of what I would want out of it.
Yeah.
Not the
I
fact that
wanted
Starline
his to
is
be
at the
clutch.
helm here.
Yeah, I wanted it to be clutch until we got the reveal a couple issues back that actually he's fine. He's just being controlled by Eggman.
Yeah, it
Like
would
I
be
thought,
like yeah, it'd be something like that. And like, oh, hey, it would also be like this fun way of like Starline, like, reaps what he sows. And, this is the same thing that was happening to Serge and Kit that he was doing to them. And now he gets to suffer, the same fate in a way. Like, I feel like that'd be something.
it would, but it's like, man, like I understand wanting to. I either want this to be an original character or Infinite because I think Starline should stay dead. I'm sorry that you guys want the Twink back, but unfortunately he had Twink death.
Damn, bro, some people are not going to be happy about what you just said.
I know, and I am ready for it.
God, you are something.
Yeah,
And, no, yeah, if Infinite comes back, he can do whatever the hell he wants. He's deserved it. um, and if it's somebody new, then yeah, by all means, more villains, please. Having Enigma show up after Chaotix 30th was the most refreshing thing I've ever felt, in the comics for a while. So
maybe this
like,
is Enigma.
I don't really think so. I
Yeah,
don't,
but we would have probably seen something different because
I
like,
feel
but
like,
with the way that this is looking, it has to be a character that's like coming back from the dead.
or just, a character just associated with that scene. I mean, as we know from Chasing Shadows, we were meant to get a villain called Bones the Falcon, but and what was it? The premise of that was going to be the Wicker, but with Shadow. But um, you know, I feel like a character that's just, associating with death and everything. I feel like would be a really cool addition to Sonic, but it depends on how it goes. It really depends on how it goes. Again, more characters would be nice, would be cool. If anybody comes back, that'd be the most epic thing to happen. I know everyone is going to go insane over it. And I
If it's
genuinely,
Starline, then
and
yeah.
we know that according to Sonic Editorial is that Silver, Tangle, Whisper, and Knuckles are all supposedly going to be involved in this next arc about the Chaos Emeralds going missing somehow. And we also know, we have the appearance of Sage. And, speaking of Sage, is that something we want to talk about right now or save it for another video?
The reveal of Frontiers being already happened in the timeline.
Waiting on your answer here.
Yeah, I guess we should just talk about it here. I might split it off to we'll talk about it here, and if the recording is fudged up, we'll save it for another episode.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So, not like the majority of us IDW fans had thought, considering the fact that it wasn't. So, let me give some clear context to people who are listening in. Back when IDW was happening and back when Frontiers was coming out, there was a period of time where the comic was still continuing onwards and it wasn't going in a Frontiers direction, so to say. So I believe this was around the time of Overpowered, so during Surge's arc. And, we got Scrapnik Island having been announced, and we also got, Urban Warfare, was coming out as well. We got the announcement of that. And, Frontiers had just, it's already been out and everything, and we thought, oh, we're gonna get to the point where we get to the comics. And no, we haven't. We didn't. No, we didn't. Because the comics were on its own steady pace, and apparently, Frontiers wasn't going to be showing up in the comics anytime soon. What we were told, however, by both Ian Flynn and also in some cases by Evan Stanley, is that Frontiers will eventually influence its elements onto the comic at a later point in the future. And a big major factor would have been once the comic introduces Sage, that's when we know that we have gone past the point of Frontiers' story. And when we finally got the announcement that issue 84 will introduce Sage into the comic, hallelujah, we finally got it. Frontiers will happen before 84. That's what we thought. That's what we all agreed was going to happen because that is in part of what Ian and Evan have told us. Until today. Until yesterday. Correction. Where a good buddy of mine, Mario Kart Gamer Dude, otherwise known as Edward Sava. I hope I'm saying his last name right. He had asked Evan in regards to the Chaos Emeralds being collected because the stage is set. Was following up on the last Chaos Emerald. 6 of the 7 were collected in the coffin by this mysterious figure we see at the end of 83,
Did
and
it
we were
again.
kind of wondering how's 83 going to go into post Frontier, how's it going to lead into Frontiers, like is this villain going to lose the Chaos Emeralds? Is the fight with Eggman going to lead to our villain? No, and no. They don't do any of that. Instead, it's the fact that the comic is just simply continuing onwards. And yeah, we're kind of sitting there wondering like, huh?
Yeah.
How? And so that's when that's how we get around to Evan Stanley's Tumblr page answering about the question. Um, yeah. And so what does Evan say? Evan does point out that, yeah, Frontiers does not take place after 83. 84 is Sage's first appearance in the comics, which is
Which is
different.
different
Because of
because
how
of
Frontiers
how Frontiers.
handles the Emeralds, it can only take place sometime shortly before issue 68, which, in case you guys don't know, that is the issue where Sonic and Tails find the Yellow Chaos Emerald in the cave of that giant salamander. Even that placement's not perfect, but it's the best place to put it without causing major continuity hiccups. We must assume that without causing major continuity I just read that over again. We must assume that Eggman kept Sage safe at home for a while, as he made 110% sure she was fine after the whole debacle on the Starfall Islands. There was going to be dialogue and an editor's note clarifying this in 84, but during a script review, we were asked to remove it to keep things continuity light. Ian and I knew this would be confusing and frustrating for our longtime readers and pushed back, but it didn't work. So that is quite unfortunate that They were going to clarify it in the next issue, but Sega wanted it not to appear at all. And yeah, no, that is
That's
actually
really
frustrating.
stupid.
Um,
Because you could tell that like there was like something was different like in the 70s, like on just how like everything was kind of just like a little bit rushed. Like Whisper and Mimic's big fight. Honestly, this entire arc getting diverged. Like we literally haven't seen Lanolin and Jules since like the issue where they split up. So I kind of feel like that storyline got kind of cut.
yeah, and that was also explained by Evan as well. If we were to go down to a specific point, um, I'm looking at it here. Um, yeah, okay. Sorry. Yeah, okay. I'm looking at it here. Yeah. Specifically for this case that Evan had pointed out is that she was asked to aim for shorter, more self-contained stories as they're more approachable for newer readers and easier to repackage in like the volume collections and such. That said, I'm still doing my best to provide a larger conflict that will slowly build up as we approach issue 100. I don't want to spoil the whole thing, so I'll stop explaining the structure here. But like you've seen a TV show before, you'll figure it out. That makes 81 to 83 the jumping on point for this arc and one for the book as a whole. So I did a series staple: Sonic meets a new person in an interesting location, helps them through leading by example, and moves on plots. And then goes to explain a couple of other things like Soleil's parents, uh, the fact that this story was pitched during the year of Shadow, and that's why Shadow is even involved in the story in the first place, and a bunch of other things. Um, and yeah, and then that's where we come to me because I asked a question about the previous one asked by Edward, and um, apparently Evan answered it. So what I had asked was, so if the nebulous placement for Frontiers is sometime before issue 68, or even before 67 to fit in between the reading order of the volume books,
You
so
said 6-7.
what about Rouge getting the White Chaos Emerald in 2022 Annual's Rough Patch? In case you guys don't know, again, I'm gonna, for anyone who doesn't know, Rough Patch is a story that was created by Aaron Hammerstrom on the IDW team, and it is a story about Rough and Tumble splitting off from each other because they're bumbling brothers, they're fighting with each other, and Tumble goes to team up with Rouge, and Rough goes to team up with Tangle, and that ends up in a bit of a kerfuffle in the Mineral Museum back at Spiral Hill Village, but ends up with Tangle and Rouge stopping Rough and Tumble. Rough and Tumble make up with each other. Um, Tangle is duped by Rouge, and Rouge takes the Chaos Emerald for herself, which was the white one. And that's kind of a big thing to factor in. It's the Chaos Emeralds being collected after they haven't been seen since the end of Metal Virus. Um, and I'd mentioned is that does this mean that the placement of Aaron's story is being changed to fit for Frontiers? Because Hammerstrom did say in response to some sort of chronology that I was thinking sometime after issue 48, but I'm not sure if that'll align with anything in the future. So take that with a grain of salt and be ready to update it if something contradicts that later. And that is true. Aaron is fine with the fact that even though he was thinking that this would take place after the Chaotix meet Clutch for the first time and deal with his dirty dealings in Central City, he's fine that if a future story contradicts this and Rough Patch takes place at some other point in time. And Evan would go on to say, yeah, Rouge having an emerald from Rough Patch is basically the unavoidable continuity hitch I alluded to in my earlier answer. There is no good answer for this, as that story doesn't formally have a cemented place in the continuity of the comics. As Aaron said, it's kind of at the mercy of larger things at play. You could speculate that Rouge lost the White Emerald due to ancient shenanigans, yoinking it so Frontiers could happen. Then after Frontiers, she went and tracked it down again, only for it to be stolen another time by our mysterious coffin-carrying friend and or Lunar. Tough time to be Rouge. And through the hashtags, you can see some things that Evan had said. That stands out specifically is by the time Frontiers came out, we were already committed to the locations of the emeralds as they were in the comics, and that is very unfortunate. That some things are kind of happening that are completely out of their control for both Evan and Ian, since they are both writing the next coming arc featuring Sonic, Bell, Metal Sonic, and Sage. And I had some time to think about it a little bit, and I actually want to put my 2 cents into this if I can, just because I was talking about it in another server.
Go ahead.
I know I'm talking about it, but like I'm really passionate about the timeline, the canon, the lore, the world building of Sonic's world. And despite the fact that some people will not agree with me, I think it has been fun despite the fact that I do understand that IDW is a side series. It is undoubtedly a side series, and the games come first when it comes to the series. It is fun piecing together like how the comics are in relation to the rest of the series, especially since like for the time that we knew, the comics were in this like in between spot after Forces and before Frontiers. That was what we were comfortable with, and that was what we were going to be comfortable with after going towards post Frontiers. But now we are coming to this. We're coming to this part of the series where we find out that we've been past Frontier this entire time. And again, Evan did say that they were going to clarify, like, Sage not being around, despite the fact that Frontiers has technically happened at this point. And with and they weren't able to do so. So that is very unfortunate. But despite that fact, we know now like what the case is according to Evan and Ian. It's not the best answer, but it is an answer that they can give us for now because I want to continue to put my faith into Ian and Evan as well as people from the lore team like Chris. I'm sure he's working on this as well. He is in case you guys don't know, Chris Hernandez is the guy. He is the lore manager on their team, and he is basically the guy that pretty much confirmed that IDW is canon to the games universe. And I do genuinely hope that they know what they're doing. And um, I was talking about it in another server, like consulting like the best possible way to like bend a few things in order to make this work. And from what I can understand, if we were to like put the placement in Fold for Frontiers, it would be after 66 and before 67 at the very least. Because again, to fit in between the volume books, which is the volumes, the trade paperbacks, the ones that collect the issues into a full book, which are classified as the official reading order of the comics. And while some comics are fitted in the books in a specific way, there is a chronology that they don't really kind of follow, so it kind of doesn't really matter in that sense. But that is what makes the most sense, especially when you consider other factors into this. Like I meant, like some other friends of mine have mentioned, like, well, if Frontiers happens prior to the Phantom Riders arc, now it makes sense why Tails says that they're having a party at Restoration HQ. The Christmas party that he mentioned in Tails Tube. And uh, there's also a couple of things like the joke that they said about in issue 70 when Tails mentions like going through the trash, the reference to the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog, even though it was confirmed to us from Evan that it's Sega's decision. Unfortunately, I have to say it, that murder of Sonic is not canon. That joke does technically now make sense since Frontiers had already happened by that point. Um, and I was also kind of going back and forth about it in the case of like, this would be another case where a story goes into the future, whereas the comics are like in the past or the present. So I was mentioning how like if going with it, Rough Patch will technically have to be a story that takes place like in the future from when it first released. Just like in 2024 annual, we had For My Destiny, which was the story Yasmin Omar Atta wrote for Knuckles, and that story takes place like far into the future. Like it's supposed to be like, oh, to be continued from issue 80. That's what the end of the story said, but it doesn't have any correlation with the Stages Set arc or even the Scattered Pieces arc. It's just sometime in the future we'll get a story where Sonic, Tails, and Amy crash land on Angel Island and end up with Knuckles. Um, and I just have to kind of set that up a little bit. Like some things are going to have to be bent in a way. I don't even think Evan or Ian came to this conclusion like me and my friends or my associates or my acquaintances have. I'm not, and from what it sounds like from Evan's responses, it sounds like she doesn't even have the time to do so in the first place. But I am hoping that they are looking into this, that they are considering the options, and they are like at least hopefully they'll find something to like properly solidify it. They said that before 68 is the most like it's before 68 is where they do it's where Frontiers can be placed with the least amount of continuity hiccups, and I can agree. And if that is what we're going to be going with from now on, I'm more
Then
than
so be
willing
it.
to understand that. It's just going to take a little bit of time for me to like, take it all in, much as is for everyone else. But yeah, all right, I'm done now. Again, I'm really passionate when it comes to this series. Like, I've devoted so much of my online life, in regards to the comics, and like tiny little bits and pieces of my IRL life as well. In real life. Why did I say that?
Sonic is
Why did I say that?
I am sending Silver the Hedgehog rapidly towards your location. Get ready.
Awesome.
He's coming with
No,
my
I'm done
my
now. I've spoken all I could about this. I'm done now.
Okay. Well, anyways, yeah, I do feel bad for them for getting their plans meddled. To me, if you're gonna create and write something, allow the people that want to write the thing to write the thing.
Mm. But at the very least, like, if, putting it in between, like, yeah, I was going to say is like putting it in between 66 and 67 is probably like the best solution I can come up with because, in between those issues in particular, there seems to be some sort of downtime. Um, oh, excuse me. There just seems to be like a little bit of downtime from where we get Jewel and Clutch starting the business relationship between Clean Sweep Inc. and the Restoration. Um, as well as like when Surge and Kit eventually join up with Clutch. Like there just seems to be a little bit of downtime between a lot of those storylines. And I also think I also think that it works too. I also think that it works a good amount as well. Um yeah, because like Frontiers can kind of happen like in the middle of that. Um I'm also just trying to like look into that real quick. Yeah, we don't exactly know how much time was spent in between 66 and 67. We know that Surgeon Kit joined with Clutch literally earlier that day, and then came to the restoration and such. So like that kind of happens in the same day, but like in between, so like with the Chaotix and Vanilla's family all joining up together with dinner, as well as Rough and Tumble were there, and now Rough and Tumble are doing a job for Clean Sweep. And then um, everything with let's see here. Was it? I think yeah. Sonic went to go like take dinner to like Tails and Amy. And yeah, I'm just kind of like I just feel like we don't know the time that is set in between those two issues, so I feel like that is the best to put there for Frontiers, because then it would also make some sense. It would also make some sense in regards to the ending of Frontiers, where they're all going to go off on their own and do their own thing, and then like oh it would make sense for like oh hey here's 67 where Sonic reunites with Amy, and here's 68 where Sonic reunites with Tails, and then they'll see Knuckles whenever because like Knuckles has gone back to his island for a little while before he like does more adventuring and stuff like he said he would. Like I feel like that makes the most sense.
Yeah, it does. It
Again,
does.
there's just some other things that we have to factor in that might not make sense, but we're gonna have to like maneuver around a little bit. We've kind of been doing this for the longest time with this series. What's the difference?
Who knows?
Have any of you considered that I haven't lost my mind yet?
I mean, you did threaten to kill me this episode.
That's because I have a headache from all the number jokes, man. I'm so tired. Why is that even a meme?
Who knows? 8-9. Well, anyways,
Please don't start anything else. Why? Why?
well, to save Flu sanity in time for the holidays, we'll be ending this episode here, and hopefully there's no echo issues. Thank you as again for watching the podcast of disaster. Be good to yourselves, others, and mothers, and see you next time. Goodbye,
Please take
everybody.
care. Have a good Christmas and a happy holidays. Get a whole bunch of awesome stuff and just, try to remain sane until the rest of the
Yeah,
days. It's almost 2026. We're almost there,
yeah.
guys.
We're gonna get Lando Fish plushies out in 2026. Okay, see you guys. Bye, everybody.
Uh,
That should be it. That was a good episode.
can you at least
I
just
think,
look? Can you at least just hear back to the recording and see how that went?
yeah, I'll have to end the space.
All right. Let's pray and hope.
Yep. I'll ping you in
Mm-hmm.
Discord if anything's happening. Okay. See ya.
Mm-hmm.